Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. I have Rabbina Banks with us today. Rabbina Banks is a woman who owns Ayesha Inc. So we're going to talk about her business, but she's also a former U.S. Air Force aircraft fuel systems technician. She has an associate's in electronics engineering and a bachelor's in metaphysical science. She is also a graphic artist, certified life coach, certified master mindfulness practitioner, certified yoga instructor, and ordained metaphysical minister. She is passionate about fashion, empowering women, and giving back to her community. Ina, it is so great to have you here.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good. I got in from the road. My auntie celebrated her 60th birthday. And so we drove from Florida to Alabama to Birmingham to surprise her and help her celebrate her 60th birthday. So I'm a little tired. You see, I ain't put on nothing on my face and nothing. I'm just here.
Girl, you look beautiful. It ain't no thing. So today we are going to be talking about transitioning to civilian life.
hmm
But as I mentioned before, you were in the Air Force. So can you speak upon kind of a little bit about your experience going into the Air Force, what you dealt with, and then like transitioning into the civilian world?
Yeah. So I was in a male dominant field. And so I did have to tolerate a lot of I don't know how to say this, but a lot of men, doubting my ability to do the job. And so there's very few women in our field. And so we would definitely have to prove ourselves more often than not. And then I got sick and I was medically retired. And so that was like a big hard transition because they kind of like tell you're not physically fit to serve in the military. And then this was back in 2006, so I don't know how they do it now, but they're like, okay, you're not fit to be in the military no more. Okay, here's your severance or whatever they give you. Goodbye. And it was nothing else. It was no it was no transition assistance, but they give you that little briefing or whatever they give you to transition out of the military, but it's no help for you once you leave. So you've lived this life for however many years and become accustomed to this, and then they kick you out and they don't give you any help, no assistance. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, um at that time they had a VSO in the NPF, which is the place where they did all the admin work. And so I had help doing my pension paperwork before I got out of the military, which was great. So I was at 80% getting out of the military with my disability. But a lot of people don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a gaggle. And when you transition out of the military, you still conditioned to be in the military, and that transition is so hard and so lonely.
So I know you mentioned TAPS, and I've actually talked to a couple of different people about this too. Like, it's at least when I went through, they were like, well, here's how you build your resume. And that
hmm
was it. And
This is what you wear to an interview.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, like that's cool. Like, sure, it is beneficial, but
Right.
like a lot of, and I know, you know, and I know this could be men and women, but when we do transition, you're right. Like, there's nothing like this. The military was your identity for so long. Like, I joined after high school. So I go from, being part of, my parents, under my parents' thumb to Uncle Sam's thumb. And then now I'm like this free individual, not knowing what to do. So, what steps did you take in order to like find yourself, in order to essentially transition?
In some ways, I'm still trying to find myself, and I got out in 2006. Like it's hard. I don't like again. In some ways, I'm still trying to find myself, and at one point, I didn't even identify as a veteran. Like I would not, unless it was absolutely necessary, I would not identify. because I didn't feel like my service mattered. I didn't feel like people cared that I served. And so it was just, I flamed out for real when I first got out. It was just a hard transition for me. I had to be an adult because I had kids. So I couldn't just, you know, I just couldn't just not do anything, but it was hard. So again, I had to, that's why I started doing like the yoga and all of that type of stuff. But exactly a year after I got out of the military, I had a stroke.
Oh my God, girl.
Yeah. So exactly a year after I got out of the military, I had a stroke. And so after I had that stroke, I was like, whatever it is in my mind I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and do it, because you never know what's going to happen. And that's when I started my business a little bit after that, because I was like, might as well, if you never know what's going to happen.
That is so true. And one thing that you mentioned, like women, like not feeling like a veteran, that is like such a big thing with female veterans. Like, and I don't know why it's such a struggle. Like, we serve.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Like, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, we've served, we did our time, and then, and not to like sound sexist, but men like it'll do 2 years and be like, well, I'm a veteran. But yet women have such a hard time, even if it, no matter the amount of time that we serve, have a hard time identifying with that.
Yes, and I believe in this, my personal opinion is because, again, the military is male centered. So when somebody says veteran, they don't think about us. They think about a man. And men are so gung ho about serving. Like, they're military ate up. Like you said, they could have served 2 years. New Year's Day, we had went to lunch. Me and my sorors, we went to lunch, and there was a man there, and he had on a Marine hat, and we were like, thank you for your service or whatever. He was like, yeah, I served in Vietnam. I only did 2 years, but he served from 68 to 70. And I was thinking to myself, okay, he did, that was Vietnam. I feel like that was a lot to serve in Vietnam.
It is.
Yeah. But again, men are so proud. They walk around with their hats on, with their jackets on. Like, they identify, you gonna know when a man served in the military, because he gonna have on something that identifies him as a military person. He want everybody to know. And I think that the military is so male centered that women feel like they're pushed to the side, and so they don't identify at all. Like, I rarely see women wear anything that identifies them as a veteran.
Mm-hmm. And
Rare.
honestly, like, this is why I wanted to start this podcast, because like every story deserves to be heard.
Right.
And we've done our time. We deserve just as much as our male counterparts.
I agree.
So, I do appreciate you taking the time to do this, because you're right. Like, a lot of women have a hard time identifying as a veteran, but I'm going to keep saying, you did your time. Like, let's embrace it. It is a part of who you are.
Yep.
And I know it's hard, especially when you transition, trying to find yourself. And, life is that journey where we're always constantly trying to find ourselves. But yeah, that transitioning to that civilian life is hard. Like, it was like that whole self-identification, you're just like, who am I?
Right. And then you go through that whole phase where you rebel against everything that they say you couldn't do. So you get colorful nails. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
I
do
did that.
you do everything to your hair. Like, you just rebel against everything they tell you not to do. But at the end of the day, you still are. I'm still like regimented, with some of the things that I do, and it's always going to be that way. Like, it's ingrained within me, and I have come to terms with that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, since we've already talked about women not identifying as a veteran, I also feel like a lot of the time women veterans are unwilling to kind of claim for their service.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak upon that whole aspect and kind of applying for disability claims?
Yeah. So, when women, so the first thing is when women don't self-identify, they don't know what is out there for them. So like if you need to get your disability done, you can go to any VSO, you can go to the DAV, it's free. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to pay to get help with your disability, pension, unless you want to pay a lawyer to do it or whatever. But most people don't have the money to do that. So go to the DAV, AMVETS, VFW. They all have a BSO within them that will help you get your disability claim done. And then a lot of veterans, they have a lot of groups on Facebook helping people get their disability done or telling you what you should and should not do. There are a lot of different things to help. But again, if you don't identify as a veteran, you won't know what's out there for you. You won't know who can help you. You know what I'm saying? So own your service. It matters. It does not matter if you did not deploy. I never deployed because I was always on special projects, doing stuff for the L-22, doing this and that and that. So I went to Korea, I did this, and I never deployed, but I was always doing something. And so whether you deployed or not, your service matters because everybody's job in the military supports the mission.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So again, if you don't identify, we can't help you. Like me and my sorors, we go out and we do community service, and we this is a scenario that happened. We went out and it's a parking lot that has homeless people living in their cars, and we went out to give them food. And when we go out, we would ask anybody if they were, if they ever served in the military so that we could help the women. And it was a lady that was sleeping in her car. And we asked her if she had ever served in the military. And she said, yeah. And we helped her get a hotel room for like a week, got her and her baby some food, helped them out because that's what we have a program and that's what the program is for. But we had to ask her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She didn't self-identify. And again, if you don't self-identify, you don't know what's out there. So we had to ask her instead of her, saying, hey, I'm a veteran. Does anybody out here know is there anything that can help me? Because it's so many programs out there for us. And they're not just for the men, they're for all veterans. So, yeah, that's my rant for today.
So say if a woman does self-identify, like what is that process? How long does that process take? What things should they, have with them?
Okay. Most everything you need is on eBenefits. So you can log on to eBenefits. I think everybody has a phone these days with which you can use your internet on your phone, your browser on your phone. eBenefits usually has everything you need, and you can start your pension thing on there. So it's on there. The person that gets to help you, then they'll take over that and start your claim today. Whenever you start it, you don't have to finish it, but whenever you start it, they have to backdate it to when you start it. So if I start my claim today and they don't finish it, so 2 years later, they have to pay me for the day I started it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So just remember that. Start your claim right now. And even if they don't finish it till next year, they'll backdate it till today. If you go for like HUD VASH or any of those voucher programs, they take at least 30 days. So that's the problem. And that's the problem with the housing the homeless. That process takes too long.
What tends to be like the typical turnaround?
At least 30 days. So if you're homeless and you're going to get housing, it takes them at least 30 days. Well, when I was over the program, it was taking them at least 30 days to help. So our program would try to step in the gap and give the ladies like hotel rooms, because most shelters won't take women with male children.
Really?
Like if it's a women's shelter, and they have like a teenage boy, they won't take them.
Wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. So, and of course, a mom is not gonna go in the shelter without her child.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of stipulations to these shelters that people don't know about. And a lot of people can't get in the shelter because of certain stipulations that make it hard for them to get in. So we try to stand in the gap because the moms have a lot of hard times trying to get into these shelters. So we try to get them hotel rooms to stand in the gap while they wait on their voucher or whatever the VA is going to do for them. And you already know the VA take a long time to do anything.
Ain't that the damn truth? So with women veteran homelessness, like is that like super common? I did see a statistic saying that female veterans tend to be at a higher rate than their male counterparts. Like
Yeah.
from your experience, like can you speak a little bit upon, the female veteran homelessness?
Yeah. So again, in my sorority, we're all veterans or still serving, and I was the director of our program. It's called Shiro. I was the director for like 8 years, and so women veterans are, I think, 2 to 4 times more likely than civilian women to be homeless. And some of the reasons are MST, which is military sexual trauma, PTSD. Most of the time, they're homeless because of mental health reasons, which is the same for men. But military sexual trauma is really a big reason. And then not having not being able to find a job, and then a lot of them become homeless because of health reasons, like physical health reasons, that they couldn't pay, their rent or mortgage or whatever, and that now they're out on the street. So women veteran homelessness is a big issue, and people get mad at me because I focus on women veteran homelessness, but I focus on women veteran homelessness because veteran homelessness is not really about us. It's about the men. When people talk about veteran homelessness, they're not thinking about us. And so we focus on women veteran homelessness because we are women veterans, and we know how women feel obsolete in the talk about veterans, period.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the main thing. Is mental health reasons or monetary reasons that they're homeless, and they are 2 to 4 times more likely. Those were statistics about a year ago. 2 to 4 times more likely than civilian women to be homeless, and they usually have children.
So say if they served but didn't have like any disability, what are their options if they are homeless?
They can, I think it's other than honorable, up to other than honorable. Like they can't have a dishonorable discharge, but I think they can have a other than honorable. They can still get the voucher. They can still go to the VA and get the HUD badge or the SSVF, I think it's called. They can still do that. You don't have to have a family to get the voucher program, be a part of the voucher programs.
Oh, okay. So these voucher programs, like what do they like all entail? Like I know you said it takes about like 30 days. But what do they provide?
They give, it's like Section 8 for veterans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they give you the money to pay your rent or whatever. Yeah. I think that's what the HUD badge is. I forget what the SSVF is. It's like a subsidized thing. Anyway, both of those are, they give you money to pay for your rent.
Oh,
So
that's very cool.
yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like
Yep.
like I said, I did know the statistic for female veterans was a lot higher than the civilian and male counterpart.
Yeah.
So it is good to know, like if someone does see a female veteran um, homeless, like we can provide these resources for them.
And just know that being homeless means that you do not have a home. So if you are sleeping on somebody's couch, you are homeless.
Mm.
So that does not mean that you're sleeping on the street. If you don't have a home, you are homeless. If you're sleeping on somebody's couch, you are homeless. If you're sleeping on somebody's floor, you are homeless. You do not have a home. Therefore, you are homeless. And please go to the VA and tell them that you are homeless and you need help. That's my last. I think that's my last rant for today.
I'll probably get a couple more rants out of you, girl. So you talked about a sorority. And is this a military sorority? I didn't even know that was a thing. So tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, so I'm in a military sorority. It's called Alpha Gamma Xi Sorority Incorporated. We were founded in 2014, but the first military sorority was founded in 2000, and it's called Sigma Phi Psi. And there are several military sororities. There are also military fraternities.
Interesting. Did not know that.
So our mission is service, community service. We're a community service based organization. I am the president. I'm in Jacksonville, so I'm the president of our chapter. But we have a chapter in Texas, a chapter here in Jacksonville, a chapter in Virginia. Yeah. And so we're celebrating 10 years this year. And again, our main focus is service. We have the Shiro program, which focuses on women, veteran homelessness. We have the Swans program, which is about sexual assault, those type of things. Is a program for that. And then we have a program for the children called Hope. And we work with them so they can do community service, and we have a scholarship program for them. So we have those 3 programs. We have some more programs coming up, and we're also going to have an auxiliary coming up for people that are not in the military, women that are not in the military but want to support us, or so because we all have some family members that say, dang, I ain't serving the military, but I want to do something with y'all.
Awesome. Yeah, we need all the support we could get.
Yeah, I know, right? So we have an auxiliary that's getting ready to start, and yeah, it's fun. It's been fun. I've been in since 2015. It started in 2014, so I was the first line of the second year. And it's been a wild ride, but yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. So how can someone join?
Okay, if you want to join, you can go to the website alphagammazi.org and click on the membership tab, and you can hit apply, or you can email membership at alphagammazi.org, and that's the membership director, and she can give you all the information you need. I think we're going to have some interest meetings coming up, but she can definitely give more information on that. We're going to have a informational coming up down here, but I don't know anybody that's down in Florida. That's where I am in Florida. But if anybody wants to join, go to the website. You can get see all of the pretty pictures and all of that good stuff, and hit on the membership tab, and it'll give you all the information you need if you need additional information about the org, or you want to join, or put in an application.
So is there a way to start their own chapter? Like, say if a woman wants to start their own chapter in a certain area, like you said, you're in Florida, I'm in Oklahoma, not by choice, my husband's still in. But say if I wanted to start a chapter in Oklahoma, is there a certain process, or can I, tag along with another organization and support somehow that way?
No, you have to be a part of the org, and then it's a whole big process. So you can't do, I understand what you're saying, but it can't be done that way. Yeah.
So is there do you have to apply to start a charter?
You have to be a part of the org in order to charter a chapter. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially start there first.
Right.
Okay. Okay, well that's cool. Yeah, I had no idea military sororities were even a thing.
Yes, indeed. We are around doing great things.
That's so awesome. I know I mentioned that you have your own business. So talk about how you started your business, how being a veteran contributed to your business success, and how if someone wants to start their own business, how they should start.
Okay. Again, I started my business in 2013, and it was a little while after I had my stroke. The military to have my my stuff together, to be organized. My business has been, again, this is year 11. Oh, that's crazy. I've been in business for 11 years, and if you want to start a business, after being in business for 11 years, I've learned a lot, but I wish I knew a lot of stuff at the beginning. I would say do your research, do market research. Make sure you niche down as much as you can. And niche down means not trying to sell to everybody. Find your target market. And then if other people buy whatever your product is, that's great. But you need to focus on your target market, because if you trying to sell to everybody, you're selling to no one. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I started my business as a boutique and I went crazy buying stuff. And I still have some of that stuff in my closet right now, 11 years later, because I wasn't focused on my target market. I was just buying stuff for anybody. So don't do that. Take my advice. There are so many things out here that weren't out here 11 years ago to help you get your business started and going. And I would say, please take advantage of that. Again, on Facebook, there are so many groups about business, which is crazy to me, but they're giving away free information. Take it. Don't think you know everything, because you don't. There's so much information out there. Learn. YouTube is your best friend. Make sure you have the proper whatever you need for your business. So if you're making t-shirts, make sure you have the proper heat press. Make sure you have the proper printer. Make sure you have the proper paper. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you have the best of the best, because you want to give your customers the best.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them to say, "Oh, she made my t-shirt and the picture fell off as soon as I," you know what I'm saying? As soon as I got it. So just make sure that everything you do is the best. And I think the military taught me that integrity in everything you do. So I try to do that as best I can. There's a lot of people out here that look and see somebody doing something and think it's easy, and they're like, I can do it. And they start selling stuff to people and don't know what they're doing. So please don't be that person. And I think that's all that I can tell you about business. Don't be scared. Don't try to do it perfect. Just go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm. That is like such a true statement, because like if you're gonna wait, for it to be perfect, it'll probably never be perfect, because you're always gonna you're gonna pick it apart. You're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna wait until this, or I'm gonna wait until that. So what exactly is your business?
So my business is multi-divisional at this point. I have my boutique is for women. I niche that down to women only. And I do graphic design, web design, digital marketing. I have like my design side. So I have my clothing side and I have my design side, my tech side, because that's what my degree is in, and that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So that's my business, and I do custom stuff sometimes.
Oh, that's really cool. So do you have a website where people can like order from you?
Mm-hmm.
What's your website?
For which one?
For both.
Oh, the website for the clothing is BAYEHIVEBOUTIQUE, and that's BayHiveBoutique.com. And then they can also go to Ayesha Inc, BAYESHAINC.com, and I have all of my websites on there. That's like the main website, the main company website, and it lists all of my other websites on there.
And I'll definitely put those links in the show notes as well, so people can, head over to your business. I know you also have a podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Okay. So I have a podcast, and it's directly for Black women. It's basically an empowerment podcast dedicated to Black women excellence, and we try to focus on uplifting and have Black women in excellence on the show, giving their information, just trying to put their information out there and uplift them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not about us, but we want it to be a comfortable place. So we can tell them that to want them to feel like they're in our living room, hanging out. You hanging out with your best girlfriend. That's what we wanted to feel like. It started off with me and my best friend, and now my sister is one of the show hosts. So it's me, Tasha, and my sister's name is Tanya, Dr. Tanya. She is a holistic medical doctor. Yeah. So they are excellence, and we get women of excellence to come on there and tell everybody about what they're doing, and we have discussions and different things like that. But yeah, that's what the show is about. And it's called Anomalous Black Women podcast.
So I know you said it's tailored to Black women, but say for like white women or brown women, well, you know what I mean, other color, if they listen to it, what can they take away from it?
They can take away the same thing that Black women take away from it, because we're not directly saying this is for Black women.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast is for Black women, so that's how we feel like we telling everybody that it's for Black women. But the stuff that we say on there can be for anybody that's listening. I don't know if I said that it makes sense. It goes back to when you niche down,
Mm-hmm.
you have your target market, and if anybody else buys their product, then you're ecstatic about it, but you have your target market, and that's basically what our that's how our podcast is. Our target market is Black women, but if anybody else outside of our target market can get something from our podcast, we're delighted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that.
And I'm sure just hearing like a different side of, like different perspectives can like be eye-opening to regardless of color.
Right.
That's awesome. I'll also put that in the show notes so people can come check it out. So if, say, someone was coming into listening to the podcast towards the very, very end, what would you say the main key takeaways are for this episode?
Transitioning from the military needs to be revamped. Women need to be celebrated more as veterans, as women serving in the military. Women veteran homelessness and veteran homelessness, period, should not be a thing. And it shouldn't take so much for it to be helped if that's the case. Women veterans are spectacular, and we should be celebrated as much as possible. We need our own day. I know it's June 12th, but it should be a national holiday, I think, where everybody gets the day off. Women veterans only.
I'm all for a day off.
So we can go have some drinks and chill out.
Yes, girl, preach. I hear that. So I know we already kind of talked about the websites, but if someone wanted to stay in contact with you, ask you questions, how can someone reach you?
You can reach me at Bina, Bina, at Rabbina Banks, BinaBanks.net.
Awesome. Well, that was easy. Awesome, Bina. Thank you so much for coming on to this podcast, sharing your expertise. It's honestly kind of eye-opening statistics about women and veteran homelessness, and ways that we could help the military sororities, which again I didn't realize was a thing. So if anyone has any questions for Bina or want to follow her, make sure to do so. Listen to her podcast, subscribe, like, share. Again, I'll put everything in the show notes. So, Bina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I had
Well,
fun.
thank you, everyone, for listening to this week's episode. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week.